Good evening and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unfiltered on Notoriously Opinionated and the many names and letters. And so we're gonna get right into it, right? So tonight, and I know I didn't change it on the tag, I'll change it probably after the show, but tonight we're gonna be going over and actually demonstrating the 3 tiers of conversation, and I'm gonna get into what those 3 tiers are later, but let me see something. First off on Notoriously Opinionated, if you are new to Notoriously Opinionated and this is your first time tuning in to Unscripted and Unfiltered Notoriously Opinionated, welcome. If you've been rocking with your boy, been rocking with your dude, welcome back. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate all the comments I get, whether you see the show live or whether you see it later on in the week. Everybody don't have time to sit down and watch the show at 8 o'clock when it's airing live, so it's a lot of people that watch the show on Thursdays. Some people watch the show on Fridays. Some people don't watch the show until the weekend, but I appreciate everybody that comments. I appreciate everybody that tunes in and taps in every week and supports Notoriously Opinionated. So to everybody, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Now, next, next on the pod, I just want to get into this real quick before we dive into kind of the meat and potatoes of the pod. Evolution. I've said this before, and I'm saying it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. There is a difference between evolution and change, right? And again, this challenge is still out there for anyone who wants to accept it, right? Anyone who chooses to accept it, this challenge is out there for you. Evolution, and change, right? So when you change, people say, well, I'm gonna try to change, I'm gonna change, right? Well, when you change, it's like change is part of evolution, right? So you can't have evolution without something beginning to change, right? But things change at different speeds, things change at different rates, things change at different levels, like a human being can go from being a baby to elderly in 70, 80 years, right? But in 70, 80 years, the planet wasn't even thought of. Like the gaseous clouds of the planet Earth hadn't even begun to form in 80, 90, 100 years, So just as an example of how things evolve differently. Now, people evolve differently. You have, like, traditionally, girls tend to be more mature than boys growing up, right? Girls just seem to be, by and large, this is not a hard, flat rule. This is just, seeming. Girls tend to evolve faster than boys do. Boys, we still tend to be immature. Like, I'm a big ass kid right now, so, and I'm in my 40s, so I'm a big kid, and I don't have a problem with it because I know when it's time to play and when it's time to be mature. And I think that's the difference between what that's the difference between an adult and a child. But within that dynamic, like, people just evolve differently. I know right now I know a 17-year-old right now. He might be 18 by now, but I know a 17, 18-year-old right now that's more mature than some 50-year-olds I know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know someone who acts like an adult and he's 17. And I know 50-year-olds that act like kids. So, age really doesn't have anything to do with it. Because maturity is maturity, and there's no baseline or guideline as to when a person becomes mature, right? You mature as you were for the reasons that you mature. You may have some people that mature a lot faster than others. They may change and in that direction more faster than others, and thus evolve into something that is more mature than somebody else just because of what they've gone through. You got people who you got the eldest of, say, 8 kids. That child had to evolve fast. There was things that child had to come to terms with, and they had to grow, had to mature, and they had to evolve to something more than a child pretty fast, right? So people evolve differently. People learn at different rates. Like I heard Ayanla say one time, you got people was in different chairs, and they are getting different grades for them chairs that they're in. And then there's categories. There's the subcategories of, you may be getting an A in this, but you may be getting an F in this. So you're good at this, so you get an A in that. You're not so good in this, so you get an F in that, right? And it's up as to whether you want to bring that F up to a D, a C, a B, or A, and it's about how hard you work. If you don't work hard enough at what you want to get good at, then you're going to stay at an F, and that's just kind of what it is. And that just still goes towards the evolution of people and things. The reason I have a Scully on is because where I am is cold. And so I am bald, and my head get cold really quickly. And so I'm wearing a hoodie. I'm wearing a Scully. All right. So let me see. That was actually part of that's part of the third tier. The third tier conversations is where I tend to, that's where I live. I live in the third tier, and so you'll see when I go over the tiers what tier that was, and we gonna get into that and a little bit more, because this is, we getting into these 3 tiers of conversations tonight on Unfiltered, Unscripted, on Notoriously Opinionated. Let's go. took the Earth, what ended up becoming the Earth, that was just an uncondensed cloud. It took like 4.6 billion years to condense, right? Then it took about another 10 million? It took another 10 million years for the process to go from dust. What's up? It took the process, come over here. It took the process of it going from a dust to a protoplanet, took like another 100 million years, right? And then it took the final formation of forming into what we know as an actual planet another 100 million years, right? So, and this is another thing, right? This is to all of the environmentalists. I just gotta say this, and this is some tier level 3 type stuff. But keep this in mind, right? When they say we're destroying the planet, we're destroying the planet. No, you're not. You're not destroying the planet. Like, do you know, like, the makeup of this planet? Like, the little shit that we do on this planet ain't doing nothing to the planet. Like, the planet will be fine. Trust me. At its core, the planet's gonna be cool. You know, the thing about it is people think that the planet is the things that inhabit the planet. That's not the planet. So if you want to say that we're destroying the habitation of the planet, okay, now you might be on to something. But to say we're destroying the planet, guarantee you we not. Bet we not. Bet the planet gonna be cool. Bet money. I ain't gonna be able to collect it, but bet money that everything that we do to the planet don't give a damn about it. The planet is gonna be fine. We gonna be jacked up. We won't be here to see it, but the planet, I promise, the planet is gonna be fine. The planet will survive even after we do all we do to the ozone. The ozone layer is not doing nothing to the planet. Trust me. The ozone layer is killing us, the inhabitants of the planet, but it's not doing nothing to the planet. Just had to say that. The planet's gonna be fine. All right, so let's get into these 3 tiers real quick. All right. I'm gonna run through them and then I'm gonna talk about a certain thing that, you know, this is a me episode. I just need to get myself in a happy place. So I'm doing a me episode, you know. I hope you enjoy it because a lot of y'all like what I like. So, and that's why you tune in to Unscripted and Unfiltered on Notoriously Opinionated, and I appreciate it. Tier 1. A tier 1 conversation or a level 1 conversation is when people talk about other people. You know, now when people hear about that and they like, well, when people talk about other people, that's called gossip. Not it can be, but not necessarily. You know, so people talking about people can be gossip, but and I got this from my mama, and I think my mama got it from my grandparents. We are a family of notorious people watchers. We people watch. And because you gotta realize I'm Gen X, you know, I'm loyal Gen X, you dig? And in Gen X, we didn't have the internet, you know, so the stuff that goes on YouTube now, we used to just see that stuff and be like, this is fascinating. You know what I'm saying? Like the old crazy dude that takes a dump in the park, we watching that like, dude, crazy. You see that dude? dude done lost his rocker. He is just taking a dump in the middle of Swope Park. You know what I'm saying? So we would watch that. We would watch, people drive vehicles in the Swope Park and blow them up. That was our YouTube. That's what we watched. You know what I'm saying? That was reality. That was reality TV for us. And so that's what we did. We people watch. Our people watch to this day. If I see something interesting, and I can feel it about to happen. I can see interesting things about to happen. So I'm like, hold on, let me check this out. I need to people watch this. Do you see that? You see it? Are you watching what dude was doing? That dude crazy as hell. So yeah, me and my family are a notorious band of people watchers. A whole lot of people that I'm around, we are all people watchers and don't have a problem with it. So we're not messed up about it. So tier one conversations aren't necessarily always, so just because it's people talking about other people doesn't mean that it's always gossip, because you could just be people watching and talking about people in that way. You talk about people in a more positive light. For example, so the tier one conversation that I want to get into is talking about the people that I want to talk about are right now the ones that are the finalists for the AL MVP. I don't give a damn about the NL because my team's Royals. I'm in the AL. I don't care about the I'm an Atlanta Braves fan too. So, I don't know how many of my Royals fans is gonna be mad at me about that one. But to hell with you. My grandpa was an Atlanta Braves fan and a Royals fan, and so I was a Royals fan and an Atlanta Braves fan. I could care less how you feel about it. You're not gonna beat me up. So, but I still don't care about the NL. I really only care about the AL and the AL Central, and the fact that Bobby Witt Jr. is right up there with Aaron Judge for the AL MVP. Now, is he gonna win? Probably not. But the fact that a Royal is again up there, he is one of the best, right? In his league, in the American League, a Royal is up there, and so I'm kind of happy about that. Is he gonna beat Aaron Judge? I mean, it depends on what the judges like for numbers, and unfortunately, they like home runs, and Aaron Judge is a slugger. Aaron Judge has more RBIs. He got 30 more RBIs than Bobby Witt Jr. But that's because the Yankees got a nice lineup. I mean, don't get it twisted, right? The Royals got a good team. The Royals right now are, I believe, sixth in the AL. They done fail because in the month of August, I believe the Royals went. They had a winning record in August. I think they was 15-13 or something like that in August. But we done slid starting in September, and we 0-3 or 0-4 or something like that. And so that's not good to start off September 0-4 in the AL. You can go from 6th to 8th just like that, And if they let Detroit come back and get that, I'm gonna be so pissed because they've already slipped from because a week ago they was in 5th. Now they in 6th. So they done lost 7 out of the last 10. That's not good. But they did have a winning month, and Bobby Witt Jr. is still right up there with Aaron Judge. But them 51 home runs, I mean, but that's what he do. But Bobby Witt Jr. got 30 home runs. So, it ain't like he no slouch neither. He ain't gonna catch Aaron Judge in home runs, but Aaron Judge ain't gonna catch him in stolen bases. So it kind of just depends on what kind of ball you like. Like Bobby Witt Jr., he got a higher batting average. He got more stolen bases. He got that's all he got. Stolen bases and batting average. Aaron Judge's batting average is good. It's not as good as his. He got 51 home runs. Bobby Witt got 30. He got 7 stolen bases. Bobby Witt got 28. So it's kind of what you like. That's a tier 1 conversation because you're talking about people. So it's people talking about other people. We talking about Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt. That's an example of a tier 1 conversation. Tier 2 conversations are when people talk about events, right? The event can be a little bit of whatever. It can be when people are talking about, like, the weather is an event, right? What's going on in your city is an event. So if you want to talk about, hey, this is what's going on Vine later on this week. This is what's going on next summer. Next summer we got and I'm just a proponent, but next summer be on, stay tuned for next summer's Kansas City Hip Hop Week. Kansas City Hip Hop Week was dope this year, and it was the first year that it popped off. So Kansas City Hip Hop Week was the event to go to, and next year it's gonna have more backing, it's gonna have more notoriety, it's gonna be bigger next year than it was this year, and it's gonna be even doper. So that's an event. Tomorrow, the Chiefs home opener against the Baltimore Ravens, right? That is an event. That is an event that everybody in Kansas City is talking about, right? The thing that nobody's talking about is that half the damn team is hurt. I looked at the injured list. What the hell? Half the team. I ain't gonna say half the team because that's not, numerically accurate. But I'm gonna say there's at least 10 Chiefs players who were hurt. Thankfully, 9 of them practiced. Had a full practice. The only one that's out is going to be Hollywood Brown. And who didn't see that coming? The one thing about signing Marquise Hollywood Brown is this little ninja is 5'9" and I'm bigger than him. You know what I'm saying? Man, this dude is injury prone. He get hit one good time. Like, we gonna have to protect him like we did Joe Montana. Like, he needs an offensive line just to protect him. Don't hit this little dude because he's fragile. You know what I'm saying? Like, you talk bad about his mama, he liable to get hurt. It's insane how easily this cat get hurt. But here's the good thing about him not playing at the beginning of the season. So since we know he's not going to have a full season, this ain't 2021. That's the last time he played a full season. This ain't it. So that being the case, I'm cool with him playing half a season. I am completely fine with that because Pat has done more with less, So this rookie is balling out. He was balling out in training camp. I know because I went. He was balling out in the preseason games. I know because I went. So this rookie is doing his thing. And this rookie, I believe, is actually faster. He's actually faster than Marquise Brown, So I'm cool with the rookie. Now, we re-signed Juju. Juju is going to help over the middle. Juju can at least catch. Uh, uh, Juju wants to be a part of this dynasty, so he's gonna do his thing. You are liable to see a facsimile of the earlier Pittsburgh Juju Smith-Schuster. You liable to see that, right? I can't wait because he gonna play hard. He gonna play hard so he can have his name etched in the history books as being part of this dynasty and having played. So it's one thing to have your name on the roster of a team that won a ring, right? It's one thing to have your name on the roster of a team that went back to back. It's one thing to have your name on the roster of a team that, well, not a team, the first team in NFL history to win 3 in a row, right? It's one thing to have your name on the roster. It's another thing for you to have been a main contributor. That's a whole situation. You know, if you own your high school basketball team and your team wins state and you have logged all of 3 minutes the entire season, I don't know what the hell you jumping up and down for. Why is you excited like you've been starting the whole damn season? No, sit down. You can be moderately excited, but you can't be excited like those of us that started. What? Why you got 2 bottles? Popping 2 bottles like you did something all season. You're not supposed to get as drunk as we get. You ain't did nothing. You've been on the bench the whole time, bringing everybody water. Like, go somewhere and sit down. Juju don't want to do that, so he gonna ball out, and he's gonna be a nice stand-in. So where by the time we get to weeks 14, 15, 16, 17 playoffs, he gonna be top-notch Juju. By that time, we'll be at full strength, but we just need him to be serviceable right now while Marquise Brown is out. We need rookie to be serviceable. And I'm telling you, Scott Moore on the mission. Scott Moore trying to catch. He trying to have hands like D-Hop. He trying to catch everything. He know by the grace of the creator that he is still here. You know what I'm saying? He already know he is on Custer's last stand. Trust that. You know, so kind of waiting to see what everybody do tomorrow. So yeah, there is a possibility, just because this is how the NFL is, right? There is a possibility, albeit a small one, right, that the Chiefs could go 2-0 or the Chiefs could go 0-2. They could lose to Baltimore and the Bengals. And then everybody's going to be in an uproar. Everybody going to start writing off the Chiefs. Oh, the Chiefs ain't going to do nothing. They ain't going to win the 3-peat. And then they win 14 in a row. You know, or they could win these first 2 and then lose the next 3. And everybody gonna say the same thing. It's like if the Chiefs don't go undefeated, if they go on, say, a 2-game losing streak, there's going to be pseudo fans in Kansas City that's like, man, Marquise Brown, man, this, that. Listen, shut up. Just stop it. They gonna be fine. I wish I could send y'all videos of me last year at the Super Bowl. It was hilarious. It's something to see, you know. It's like must-see TV. I'm telling you. I might put it in a video one day. I don't know, but it's hilarious. But that is the thing. That's an event that everybody's gonna want to see tomorrow. That's an event that everybody in Kansas City gonna be checking out. Is the Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens. So that would be conversations that are being had today. Those are conversations that's going to be had all the way leading up to the game tomorrow night. and that would be considered a part of what would be a level 2 or tier 2 conversation. Now, on the tier 3, now we've already had this tier 3 conversation, right? Is it a conversation though? Because technically I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to myself because I haven't got number one person in the chat. So technically, but it's a conversation because I'm talking to myself. Still, tier 3 conversation. So tier 3 conversations are when people talk about ideas, when people talk about the things that motivate them, when people talk about dreams, when people talk about that upper echelon type stuff and use words like echelon. So that's what begins a tier 3 conversation. Now, keep this in mind. You do not have to have a profound vocabulary to have a tier 3 conversation. You do not have to quote a lot of big words, use words like sesquipedalian, which is just a big word that means big word. You know, you don't have to use sesquipedalian words to have a tier 3 conversation. You can have a tier 3 conversation using simple verbs, nouns, and pronouns and adjectives. You don't have to use multi-syllabic words to have a tier 3 conversation because it's about the thought. It's about the idea. You know, if you can revolutionize the wheel, you can do that with basic adverbs and adjectives. You don't have to have a whole lot of big ass words that mean big ass words. You know, you can use smaller words, but the idea is big. That's the thing. You can dream big and use little words, you know, because a lot of times people that use these big words use them out of context, and they use these big words to sound smart. And there's a difference between sounding smart and being smart. There's a difference between sounding intelligent and being intelligent. You know, I don't want to sound intelligent. There was a time in my life that I sounded really intelligent, but I was not as intelligent as I sounded, you know. And so I worked to change that. I worked to become more intelligent than I actually sounded, which is why I don't use when I use big words, it just happens to be how I talk. But trust I'm not doing it on purpose. You know, it's my brain thinks like that, and it just comes out like that. And so it is what it is, and I am unapologetic about it because I stopped caring about what people thought about me a long time ago. You know, think what you will about me. I am who I am. You can take it or leave it. And if you don't like who I am and how I am, I prefer you leave it. Like, leave it. I promise. There is an axis that my world spins on, right? And what I have habitually called it losing weight, right? People who are not for me, when they leave out of my life, I'll ask them, how much do you weigh? 245? Oh shit, I just lost 245 pounds. Thanks, I'm quick. You dig? That's how I feel. Like, get the hell out of my life if you not for my benefit. Beat it. You know? So tier 3 conversations is like the whole the idea of juxtaposing the evolution of a person to the evolution of a planet, right? Then juxtaposing the evolution of person to person, right? Of of men to women, of girls to boys, how girls tend to mature faster than boys, how the juxtaposition of how there are teenage boys who act more like men than 50-year-old men, and 50-year-old men who act more immature than a 17-year-old boy. This boy is acting like a man. His character, the way he carries himself, the things that he does, the things that he says, the conversations that he has would be that of a man. And then when you have this man who is short-sighted, narrow-minded, and immature, those are people who don't have third tier. Those are people who attempt to have third tier conversations, but they're not. Those are times when people are having or trying to have a third tier conversation and get embarrassed. It's like there's certain things that have come full circle in my life. I remember when I was about 18, 19 years old. I've always had a fascination with psychology, always. And I'm 18, 19 years old and think that I know all of this about philosophy and psychology and all this until I ran into some actual geniuses, and I'm actually spouting the stuff that I've read out of my little 2 books, a textbook and another book that I've read in psychology, and these men have read volumes upon volumes, had third tier conversations about various philosophies, So when I started talking about philosophy and they was like, what branch? I was like, what branch of what? I didn't know there was different branches, man. So you know what I did at that time? I heard a phrase that, I use quite often, especially when I'm dealing with young people. The Creator gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Trip on it. The Creator gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You are habitually supposed to listen twice as much as you speak. My grandfather was the life lesson of that. That man was like E.F. freaking what was his name? Hutton. E.F. Hutton. That was his name. So they said that when E.F. Hutton talked, everybody listened. That's how my grandpa was. Right? That man was the most humble, quietest, wise dude I ever met in my life. And he was a man of few words, but when he said something, when he like he would say, if I rear up in this chair, when he reared up in that chair and said something, it was impactful. He was a man that did not talk just to hear his head roar, like he would say, Laduro. I don't have a problem with you liking big words, Laduro. But it's because you know how to use these big ass words in their proper context. You know how to break down the syllables. You use the right emphasis on the right syllable. So I don't have a problem with it, right? It's the ones that sound like they've been to prison. that I have a problem with. Like, don't sound like Damon Wayans' Only Living Color. And the Sasquatch the what? The Sasquatch. I read the whole dictionary. I ain't never seen Sasquatch alien. You know. And you got to talk about how the fallopian tube in the back of the brain and the. Hey man, if you don't shut the hell up, you know, you sound like you've been to prison and don't know what you're talking about. Like, you're not supposed to do that, but it is what it is, you know. Third tier conversations. When you talk about the things that motivate you, right? When you talk about the people that motivate you, you know, would that be a blending of tier 1 and tier 3? You talk about, because you talk about a person, it's people talking about people, but it's people talking about the people that inspire you and that motivate you. So would that be like level a tier 13? It's 1 and 3. I'm gonna figure that out in a minute. When you talk about the ideas you have, big ideas, small ideas, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Just talk about ideas. Talk about motivations. Talk about inspiration, the things that inspire you, the people that inspire you, the words that inspire you. Words inspire me. You know, I am inspired and have traditionally been inspired by words, especially words that are in the form of, say, poetry, right? There are when I need inspiration, and my mind went to this. I actually needed to hear this. Glad my mind went here. All right. When I hear certain poems, there are certain poems that I recite that just have traditionally made me feel better, you know. And there is like one of, if not my favorite, I dare say my favorite, but it is definitely in the running. It has always been in the running for my favorite poem, and I have called it my favorite poem quite often. But If by Rudyard Kipling, right? I know the whole poem, but the beautiful parts about that poem to me that tend to always inspire me, you know. Well, it's the whole poem, no. But the way it kicks off, the way if kicks off, it kicks off in a way to where that whole poem can inspire a third tier conversation. You know, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. What the fuck? I could do a whole podcast just on that poem. I promise you. Have I done a whole podcast about If? If I haven't, I'm gonna get If, and I'm gonna break it down to you one of these days. If you keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired about waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor speak too wise. That's a mouthful. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can be calm when there's chaos all around you, if you can trust yourself when all other people have all of this doubt in you, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't accomplish this, you can't accomplish that. But pay attention to why they saying you can't do it, and make sure that don't apply to you. You can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. if you can wait and not be tired by waiting. Or being lied about. Don't deal in lies, or being hated. Don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor speak too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, and see the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop to build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose, and begin again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after you are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing left in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can walk crowds and keep your virtue, or talk with kings nor lose the common touch, if the foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much. If all men count with you but none too much. I'm gonna break that down. Right? Not right now, but eventually. Because the other thing that if does is get me to thinking. But it encouraged me. It inspires me. All right. How does it end? How does it end? If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much. If you can feel the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that is in it, and which is more, you will be a man, my son. Now, here's the thing that I learned years and years later about that poem. It wasn't really even a poem. I mean, it was a poem, but it wasn't necessarily meant to be as fantastic of a poem as it was. That is how Kipling spoke. He was literally talking to his son. That was a letter to his son. That wasn't even a poem. It was, but it wasn't, but it was, but it wasn't. Like, he wrote a letter to his son. That is the letter that he wrote to his son. His son was going off. And these are the things that Rudyard Kipling wanted his son to know. These are the things that he wanted his son with him on wherever the hell he was going. You know, this was literally a letter to his son. It's just we got a hold of it a century later. And we derived it as, you know, a great piece of literature, which it is. But it was really, in its day and time, it was just Rudyard Kipling writing a letter to his son. That's how he wrote. You know, if you can feel the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you be a man, my son. So that was just him he was giving his son all of the tools, third tier, that his son would need to become a man. And that was third tier, and that was beautiful. All right. Ending right here. One of the things that I would like to leave with everybody that's watching, everybody that will watch this. No, I'm not a proponent of Wendy's. It just happened to be a cup. It's just a cup that I found because I can't find my cups. So this is the first cup I found. You can't outrun you. I don't care. Hey, so the old phrase "wherever you go, there you are" is true. It's like real. No matter where you go, you taking you with you. So my suggestion is that the you that you take with you is the best version of you. Be the best version of yourself. You know. And even if you gotta fake it till you make it, do that. The thing is, make it. You know, stop faking it. You know, like keep going until it's no longer fake. Like if you do something that you really don't know how to do for a while and you keep doing it like you know how to do it, eventually you're gonna learn how to do it. And then when you learn how to do it, you're gonna be better at it. And then now you ain't faking. You know, you ain't pump faking no more. You can actually make that shot. All right. As always, don't talk, act. Don't show. Don't tell, show. Right? Don't promise, prove. It's been your man, and this has been Unscripted and Unfiltered on Notoriously Opinionated. And until next Wednesday, same notorious time, same notorious station. Tune in, tap in, come on in. It's been Notoriously Opinionated. And until next week, peace. I'm out.